Apologize. Excuse me. These are official court proceedings. These are public proceedings. We are streaming live on YouTube. The YouTube link, Zoom link, and password are available on the court's webpage. Because these are official court proceedings, you must adhere to and abide by professional courtroom decorum. That means no smoking, no drinking, no lying in bed, no driving. Can't be at the dentist's office, can't be at the doctor's office. Please be mindful of your background noise and your background environment. Be seated and be still. Forwarded from March 25th to March 28th at 2 p.m. Please note that Ms. Stoll, all I can do is see your forehead and your ceiling. So adjust your video. Ms. Stoll, can you hear me? Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, Ms. Marshall, we can hear you just fine.
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Stoll, adjust your video. Move it up or there you go. Perfect.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Judge Tangela Barrie. This is our civil motion. Oh, well, it was on our civil motion Zoom calendar, but this came off of our domestic calendar that we moved over. Plaintiff in the matter is Lon Meadows, being represented by Ms. Sanders, both present on Zoom. Defendant in this matter is Arene Stoll, representing herself pro se. She's likewise on Zoom. It looks like we have a no lesser. Who is that? Is that court reporter?
That's my wife, Your Honor.
Okay. Oh. And do you anticipate her testifying today, Ms. Sanders?
There's a possibility. So I guess she would need to go in a breakout room, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So this is a hearing on a modification of custody and child support of a child born in 2011. Are y'all ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. We'll have a quick opening and then we'll get on with it.
Yes, very briefly, Your Honor. We have a minor child who I think is 12 years of age, born in 2011. The child's name is Omar, male child. Omari was legitimated back in 2018. At that time, the parties were awarded joint legal and physical custody. This was a matter that I think initially came before Judge Scott, and it was transferred over to juvenile court for the purposes of an investigation. And so the juvenile court issued the actual order at that time. And that all of that is attached as an exhibit to my petition. And in that order, aside from giving joint physical and joint legal custody, there never really was a parenting plan, so to speak. It only said the father, it gave primary physical to the mother. And it said the father would have visitation every other weekend, every Father's Day, every other birthday of the child, every other Thanksgiving, and every other Christmas. It didn't go into any other visitations such as holidays or summer or any other information as to how the parties should conduct themselves regarding the child. So it was really missing a lot regarding not having a parenting plan. That was one of our reasons for filing the modification, to get more clarification regarding how the parties should be conducting themselves, as well as at the time we filed, my client was complaining that Ms. Stoll was physically in the child. We had a brief, I guess maybe it was a temporary, but we never really ended up with a temporary order because the matter just ended up being continued. I can't remember why. Because as you can see, this is a 2021 case, so we've been before the court several times, but she admitted during her testimony before the court that she had spiked the child with a shoe and had bruised the child. As well as Mr. Meadows was having trouble exercising his visitation. Omari was starting to fail in school. My client was complaining that Ms. Stoll was not properly cooking for Omari. And there is a text message between Omari and his mom, which shows Omari saying he wants to take his life because of the way that he feels about his relationship with his mom. That's part of the evidence that the court will see today. So that's the reason for bringing the modification. But in the meantime, after filing this back in, I want to say May or June of 2022, Ms. Stoll allowed Amari to go and live full time with Mr. Meadows. So he goes to school from Mr. Meadows' home Monday through Friday, and he visits with Ms. Stoll every other weekend. So we pretty much have that accomplished and would like to continue that, along with putting in a holiday schedule for the parties. Up until about 2 or 3 months ago, though, since 2021 when we filed this, and certainly since 2022, since Amari's been with his dad, Mr. Meadows was still paying child support. We finally got that taken care of, so he's no longer paying child support for Omari. I'm not quite sure how that happened because this court hadn't signed a new order, but child support office sent a letter to Mr. Meadows saying your child support case has been closed. I'm hopeful that that was done by Ms. Stoll, that she called and asked that the matter be closed out so they would, because they were taking it income deduction. Mr. Meadows has had several jobs, and some of that money, some of the time I'm sure that the money was not being deducted from his income because he was kind of moving around, and now he's self-employed. But there was a period of time when he was making those payments while Amari was living with him. So what we'd like to do is just modify to get Mr. Meadows as primary physical custodian, get a parenting plan in place, and get child support awarded to Mr. Meadows. I've had difficulty trying to get income information from Ms. Stoll. I got some bank statements from her 2 or 3 years ago, which of course probably would be stale at this moment. I'm hoping that she can give us information regarding, her job and what her income is now. That would be helpful to the court in preparing a child support worksheet, or of course I'd be happy to do that for the court. I have a worksheet, and the worksheet that I prepared is based on those bank statements that she sent me a while back. I'm sure though that those numbers probably are not accurate. Mr. Meadows, although, it's only fair, and I know the court's required to set child support, he's really not that concerned about it. Whatever amount the court decides to award him, he'll be okay with it. What's most important to him is that he be able to continue to have primary physical custody of Amari. So that's our opening, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Stoll.
Hi, Your Honor. So I have a lot of issues to address. First, I need to upload some documents. And I went yesterday to the court and I did upload some documents concerning that issue with that text message. I uploaded all the documents to show you the draft of the whole text message, not the screenshot that he sent. Secondly, I did not allow Omari to live, and I did not give no verbal consent with Omari to live with Mr. Meadows. The reason why that is happening, when we had to alternate the week, Lon Meadows constantly sending the police to the house for child wellness check. I did upload that document of all the times that was done, and I was actually harassing at the same time while Omari was in my custody as well. When we did agree that we're going to alternate weekends, we did agree to where 1 week he's going to be with me going to school and 1 week with Mr. Meadows. When I get to the school information, I also found that they have my address, not Larome's address, sign up all the documents. So that is one. And for the child support, I have information of all the payments that he sent. I am having so much difficulty since this morning. I called the court trying to e-file it, and it's not, I'm not uploading it. It's an error message I'm getting. So I have supporting documents with my pay stubs, my bank statement. I sent some yesterday at the court. It should be uploaded. It should be on the documents. And I sent, let's see, what was given yesterday. There was a copy of the bank statement, a list of dates that Larome constantly send the police, and a copy of the conversation of how that text that Omari sent that he wants to kill. And as for the discipline, he hit me And DFACS several times came to the house, and they have several cases, and I let them know I'm not going to take no disrespect from no child. And every time Omari is with me, his father is on the phone, constantly calling Omari, constantly telling him or constantly nagging him on whatever the conversation is. So it relates to and escalates to a whole lot of problem when his father constantly calls him when he's in my custody. So there's no agreement with me telling him that he can live there. He constantly called the police every morning at the house. When I had to get Mario ready, it was a problem. It was an issue. And as a fact of not cooking, Lerome came and picked up Omari from the home early. And during that time, he had football practice or whatever practice that he had. So when DFACS came to the house, as Lerome sent them, I explained the situation to them. They were there. They also said, if he pick him up early, then he's entitled to feed him. When he comes home, it's 11, 12 o'clock at night, which and he's tired, so he can't focus in school. So that's what Mr. Meadows was doing. It's all in the documents. The DFACS personnel,
Mr. Lerone, put yourself on mute.
Everything is set to them. Every time they come to the home, every time they send the police out to the home, they do a wellness check. Is a constant issue dealing with Mr. Meadows. Okay. And right now, I have documents with all his child support, whatever he sent from January to whenever. And whenever I explained to Mr. Meadows, I have a new job. Can we work to where I can drop Omari off to school in the morning and he picks him up in the afternoon? Is either cursing in front of Omari, which in the room does that, very disrespectful all the time. Every single time I call is a conversation. We hardly have any conversation and talking, because it escalates out of control. And Mr. Meadows said, no, he is not gonna do it to where I can drop him off and he pick him up. He refuses. Everything I try to work with Mr. Meadows, he refuses. And right now I have all my documents that is being an issue right now, trying to upload with my pay stubs. I have my bills, every single thing that I need, and also have, and all expenses that I have. I'm not able to upload it.
Okay, so right now, your Omari is with his dad, but your position is you did not agree for him to be with his dad.
No, because what I did when we started with Omari, he come in and pick Omari up from the previous school early, extra early. And I asked Lerome, why are you picking him up early? If the school is just up the road, I can drop him. That was an agreement. Then the police come into the house. So in my defense, I said, Omari should not go through this every single day. It's a fight between me and his dad. So eventually he ended up going to school there. And I asked Rome again. I said, we need to go back to where he's coming here, spending the week, and then alternating the other week with him. That was the original agreement. That started and it never continued because of the constant fight. And Lerome does not want to say, hey, we're going to do this halfway. Let's meet halfway. Because during that time, he didn't have a full-time job. So his schedule is more flexible. So I was willing to drop off and he can pick up because of his flexible schedule, which he refused.
Your Honor, I see that it looks like we have a witness trying to come in. This may be one of Ms. Stowe's witnesses.
Okay, whose witness is that?
That is my mother, Pamela Worrell.
Okay, so she's not in yet, but when she comes in, we'll take her. Ms. Marshall, if you'll watch out when it does connect, and we can take her into the witness room. Right now, it doesn't look like she's connected to be able to hear us.
No, I don't think so.
What's her last name again?
Worrell.
Ms. Worrell, can you hear us? If you can, give me a thumbs up. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear us? Okay, she actually
has.
Can you speak?
Yes, she had a stroke. She can.
Miss, oh, let me speak with Miss Worrell. Miss Worrell, can you hear us? Oh, say that again. Okay, so for right now, you can hear us, but we can't hear you. So you're gonna have to go back out and make sure that you choose the audio so that we can hear you and you can hear us. Because right now, that's not gonna work, and so I won't be able to take evidence from you because I can't hear you. Okay, let's see if that'll work. She'll go out and come back in and see if that'll help.
I'd like to call Ms. Stowe as my first witness. Where do you live?
What do you mean? Where do I live?
What's your home address? Okay, is this a house or an apartment?
A house.
Okay. Are you purchasing or renting?
Purchase.
Okay, who else lives in the house with you?
My daughter, sometimes,
And how old is your daughter?
21. 20, sorry, 20.
Okay, did you prepare a financial affidavit for the court? Something that would tell us what your monthly mortgage is?
That is what I'm trying to upload and it's not working. I'm having difficulties. So I need somewhere to send all that documents so it could be uploaded.
Okay, can you tell me approximately, I don't know, you need the exact amount, what your monthly mortgage is?
$1,400 and something.
Okay. You have a car payment?
No,
What about your car insurance?
that's $200 and something for that.
Per month?
Yes,
And what about your utilities? What does your gas bill run in your house?
that's close to $50, $60. It depends. It varies every month.
What about your electricity?
My electricity, I'm on a payment plan. So whatever funds I put towards that, that's the amount of electricity I have. I'm not on a regular plan because my norm bill, as the Cap County says, is over $500. So I have set up a payment plan. So
how much do you normally pay per month? You pay 200, 100?
I pay more because with how this plan is set up, the amount of electricity that you use, that's the amount of usage they're charging you. So I'm working from home. So my usage is very high. So sometimes I do have to end up borrowing money just to pay the light bill to keep it on. Per week, it may be close to $100 per week I'm paying.
Okay, so you actually pay it per week instead of monthly?
Yes, because of the plan that I set up with. With monthly plan, the bill is very high.
What about your cell phone bill?
My cell phone bill is $120. That's the documents I cannot upload either.
All right, do you have any credit card bills?
No.
Now tell us where do you work?
I work at a credit card processing company.
And or you do customer service work?
Customer service, yes.
Okay, and how often are you paid? Once a week, once a month, every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks. I have the pay stub too, and I'm not able to upload it.
Okay, are you paid hourly? I mean, do you make a certain amount hourly or do you have a salary?
Hourly.
Okay, and how much do you make hourly?
I believe I need to check my pay stub to give you an accurate number.
Okay, so now do you have that pay stub with you now?
All the documents is there and I cannot upload it. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, is it on your computer that you have now? Okay, so do you know how to use the screen share feature in Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible for you to share that with us now?
Yes, I can share it. I can share it.
So now this is showing a considerable amount of overtime on this particular pay stub. Can you go back up to the top?
Hold on.
Now, what hours do you normally work?
My new hours is 10 to 6:30.
Okay, so you make right at $40,000 a year. Does that sound right to you?
It varies because when I have doctor's appointment, that is not accurate. I don't believe I'm getting paid for doctor's appointment. So
Do you have an illness that requires you to go to the doctor on a regular basis?
Yes, I had thyroid cancer and they have me on thyroxine and high blood pressure and diabetes.
Okay, so now do you have your W-2 form from last year, maybe?
I do. I believe, yeah, my tax person sent it to me.
Okay, do you remember how much it was? How much you made last year?
No, and right now he told me that I owe the government. So I know, I don't.
Okay, so now Omari went to the school that he's in now from Mr. Meadows' home all of last year, correct? The 2023 school year?
Yes,
And you were getting him every other weekend?
yes,
Okay. And of course, you do recall that, we've had some testimony from you to the court prior to today.
yes.
And I think you explained to the court at that time that you did not agree with Omari being over with his dad, but you didn't say to the court, Your Honor, he's supposed to be with me, and you didn't try to go and get him, did you?
I always pick up Omari every weekend that when it's assigned my weekend, unless Mr. Meadows is giving me a hard time to get Omari, and sometimes I have to call the police.
Okay, but you always return him to his dad on Sundays
Yes.
of your weekend. You don't just keep him and take him to school yourself.
Like I explained before, I did have an agreement with Mr. Meadows concerning the school, and he did not agree. And I'm not going to subject myself, nor the neighborhood, nor my son, with having the police constantly come to the house when a disagreement is between me and Mr. Meadows, with him not cooperating. So that's the main reason why he's over there, just to keep the peace and not to go through this harassment.
Okay. Can you, I don't know if I can share over your share. Can you take?
Yeah, you got to stop sharing, Ms. Stoles. Just stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now do you recall telling the court last time that you spanked him with a shoe?
Yes, I did when he hit me. And I
Okay.
told that to DFAX as well.
And that was the reason, because I remember showing the judge the bruises from the pictures that I have for Omari, and that was your explanation as to how the bruises were, came to be on Omari. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you do you know what date that was, Ms. Sanders? So I can look at my notes. When was that?
When we had that hearing once before,
Uh-huh.
we kind of like got in the middle of it. Something came up and we had to stop it. I want to say it was sometime last year though.
Last year. Okay.
Yeah, sometime in 2023, maybe August or so.
22. Might be in
Well,
22.
2022, the case was with, I think that case was still with Judge Scott. Because I'm seeing a note here that the court will recuse, party operating on an agreement, the court will recuse. That was in September of 2022. So this must have occurred in 2023. We had you in August of 2023.
I think so.
And I think
Was
that's
August.
probably where it was probably on that August. Yeah, that's probably where it was. August 7th, 2023 calendar.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I want to go back about your living. I can't remember if I asked you this. Are you purchasing the home or are you renting the home?
I own the home.
You own the home. Okay. When did you buy the home?
Back, I believe, in 2005, I think.
Oh, so you
Quite sure
I'm sorry.
At this point, I cannot remember the date.
Okay, but you've owned your home since 2005.
Around that time, I believe, yeah.
Okay. Have you been over to the school where Omari is at school?
Champion Middle School?
Yes, where he's in
Yes,
school.
I have.
Okay. And when's the last time that you visited the school?
I visited a couple of weeks ago to give my new phone number, update my phone number in the system.
Okay. Have you communicated with his teachers?
I have the Infinite Campus and the grades and everything has been sent there. I called the school a couple of times and they told me I couldn't personally talk to the teachers. I had to speak to them through a different thing.
And you haven't been to any of his parent-teacher conferences?
No, the time that they have the parent-teacher conferences is the time that I'm at work. I'm not able to attend it.
Okay. Now, last year, before he entered middle school, where was he in school? Different school.
I can't remember the name of the school.
So how far was that school from your home?
10 minutes down the road.
How far is Champion Middle from your school?
Like 15 minutes.
I'm sorry, the school from your home. Yeah, okay. Okay, I have nothing further for Ms. Stoll at this time, y'all.
Okay. Ms. Stoll, we're going to give you an opportunity to present your case after Ms. Sanders is done. So you will come back and have an opportunity to present your evidence to the court, okay? Ms. Sanders, call your next witness.
Mr. Meadows, is this a home that you were purchasing or renting?
No, just a rental.
It's a rental, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And are you single or married?
Married.
Okay, and how long have you been married?
2 years.
Okay, and where does your wife work?
She's a teacher at Columbia Middle School.
Okay. And where do you work?
Right now I'm doing Angie's List. So I've been working getting leads off Angie's List for at the moment.
And what type of work do you do?
Just carpentry work, doors, windows.
Now, before you had a job when we first started this process, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And who were you working for at that time?
I was working for Commercial Solutions.
Okay. And what type of money were you making then?
When I was at Commercial Solution, I was making $24 an hour.
Okay. And how much money are you making now?
Well, for the monthly thing, it's been around about $2,500 sometimes, and sometimes it might go up to like 28, 30, or 3,000. But at the time, I'm just doing this just something to keep something coming in until something else come through. That's why the Fatherhood program is trying to help me get some stuff off my record.
Okay, let me show you plaintiff's exhibit number 10 and ask you, are these your pay stubs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, actually not pay stubs.
Well, there'll be my invoices.
These are invoices for work that you're doing now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and these are invoices over the last 2 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so they reflect somewhere between, you say, $2,500 and $3,000 a month?
Yes, ma'am. Somewhere in that area.
Okay, now how is it that your customers are in contact with you? You said this is through, did you say Home Advisors?
Home Advisor, yes, ma'am. Well, Home Advisor Angie's List, so it's through Home Advisor. What it is, my company is out on the web, and anything suitable, like if a customer looking for you to do a certain type of skill that you do, they send them leads to me.
Okay, now do you have to pay for your leads?
Yes, I do. I have to pay for the leads. Yeah, they're not free.
How much are your leads?
From $89
Per
and
lead?
up on it, $89.
Okay, how many leads would you say that you pay for per month?
I'm gonna say 3.
Okay.
Especially if they're decent job. So I say 3.
Okay. Do you have any other business expenses?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so now when you buy materials, is that billed to the client or are you having to pay for that?
It comes out the money. Most of the time, the clients, I bill them when I come out, and if they pay me my service fee for coming out, it goes towards. If they accept the job, it goes towards the job. And most of the time, the customers they like to. I put the whole bid for the material and the labor, so I'd include it. So usually I have to go out and get everything that I need or that we be needing, so we can get the job completed.
Okay, so now what about your equipment? Are you having to spend money for equipment?
No, I got tools. I got all my tools and stuff like that. Only equipment I have to spend money on is like the hardware and stuff like that, just the material outright for the customers.
I have a quick question. How long have you been doing this business?
Oh, this just for about 2 months now.
Previous to this business, what were you doing?
I was working for Commercial Solutions.
Okay. And what was their annual income working for them?
Ooh, I was at 24 an hour. I think it was like, I want to say it was like 60.
60K a year?
Yes, ma'am. I want to say.
And this
sure.
right here, what is your annual?
Well, doing this here, I really ain't had an annual on it because I hadn't done it for a great long time. It was just something just keep money coming in till I get something else permanent. So I really don't have like a set annual fee because the money doesn't be like that. And then you can't even get the jobs if you don't. You got to be able to pay for the leads. And when you do pay for the leads, they're not always guaranteed. So you might get some leads and you might not get a job at all. It depends on the customer, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Let me get 2 minutes break, please. 2 minutes.
I'd like to tender plaintiff's exhibit 10.
All right. Plaintiff's 10. You have any objections to plaintiff's 10, Ms. Stowe? Gotta unmute.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that, Your Honor.
I asked her if she had any objections.
Is this what I'm looking at?
Yes, this is his document. He wants to submit this document.
No.
All right, I'm gonna admit plaintiff's 10.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to stop my screen share. Okay, Mr. Meadows, Can you tell the judge what caused you to file for modification initially back in 2021?
Well, I wanted to be able to make sure Mari was good. I wanted to make sure his schooling was good. I don't know why Ms. Stoll say I just took him, because I didn't. You know, when she brought Amari to me, you know, it wasn't even a discussion. I didn't even know he was coming. So I had to ask.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but are you saying that she dropped him off, that you didn't go to pick him up?
No, I didn't pick him up. When she first brought him to me, I didn't even know he was coming, you know, because she brought him and she just said that he wasn't listening to her. And he was like 4, 105. And she brought him to me. And at the time when I left Ms. Stowe, because we was supposed to got married, but we had canceled all that.
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. You're saying she brought Amari's been living with you since he was 4?
He'd been with me. She brought him, when he first brought him me, he was 4 going on 5. And she brought him to Laurie Malone houses, Malone, the lady who I was renting a room from. And at the time, I had to ask Laurie, I had to talk to her when she brought Amari over there to see if he could stay with me. That's where the guardian light came and seen me at when I had Amari. I was in Miss Malone's house in a room. And I think that had a lot to do with it, because when she dropped Amari off, she just left him. She just said, well, look, you deal with it. I can't deal with that right now. He's not listening to me.
Okay.
And most of the time when me and Miss Stowe was together, I was doing the cooking. I did all that stuff. I did that for Amari, but I concentrate on my son. I really concentrate on him and by the things she's saying, but I never took him from her. She brought him to me.
Okay. At some point in time, he went back to stay with Miss Stowe. When was that?
Oh, okay. Okay. That's what I was getting confused about.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. When he went to state, I'm sorry, Judge.
Yeah, I was misunderstanding. I thought this switch had occurred just recently, and then you were talking about it happening when he was 4 or 5. So I've just got a little confused. So there was a time where he went back to his mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right,
he went back to his mom. And once he went back to his mom, then when he did finally get back to his mom, when they gave her, and in 2019.
Well, how old was he when he went back to his mom?
He was going on 7.
So he was going 3 years. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. He was with me all that time.
Okay.
You know, and in all honesty, I put him in daycare, and I started him in school. You know, I had started him in Margaret Elementary School, which is a theme school over by the house, but his mother had asked me to put him in there, but she later on she changed her mind. So he didn't go to that school. So I got him in Panola Way. I got him enrolled in Panola Way. And Margaret just stayed with me. We just stayed. But when he finally got back with his mom, it was when they gave her, when she had the full custody, when she was a custodian parent, and she just kept him from having communications with me. She's saying that I called the police, and I did not just call no police. Only reason I called the police is when I went there and I couldn't get my son, or they had me waiting, or that's the only time I ever did that. Or I had a welfare check when she took his phone and I couldn't call him, stuff like that. And his brothers, my other kids, we all hung together. All of us I tried to keep him close, and Amari's mother never allowed him to see his brothers, even though she's saying she did, but that's not the truth, Your Honor.
Okay, I want to go back, Mr. Meadows, to when you first filed this lawsuit regarding the bruises. What happened when you saw the bruises on Amari?
When I had to come and get him, he didn't tell me anything about it. You know, I was giving him a bath because it was after football practice, and I asked him how he get this on his leg. He says, "Mother hit him," and it was just a bad mark. You know, I was like, "Why she hit you? What she hit you with?" He told me she hit him with a shoe. At first, she did not tell me what she hit him with. She did later on once I had contacted defects.
And how old was he at this time?
Amari was 7. I want to say he was 7.
That when he got hit with the shoe, he was 7?
Yeah, I believe he was 7 then. 7 going on 8.
What was that, the same year that we filed the suit back in 2021?
Yeah, that was the same year.
Okay.
That was the same year, Ms. Sanders.
Now,
it was.
During that period of time, you were getting Amari every other weekend, correct?
I was getting him every other weekend. Yes, ma'am, I was.
Were you also getting him sometime during the week for football or other activities?
Yes, I got him for football practice, and I get him for Cub Scout.
Okay. Now, why was Miss Stoll ever taking him to football practice or Cub Scout?
No, she didn't take him.
Okay.
She didn't want him to play football.
All right. Now, what about Cub Scout? Is there a reason why she wasn't taking him to Cub Scout?
No, she didn't want him attending that either. I just took him out because most of the time he'd be with his mother, and they have the meetings on a Friday. And if he go to his mom's house on a Friday, he won't be able to attend. And so they always kept writing me. So I just continued it.
Okay. Now, you say you were having trouble were you ever having trouble with some of your visitation? That's what we put in your petition.
Yes, ma'am. I had trouble with my visitation all the time.
You would go over to try to get him and she wouldn't let you. Tell us what happened.
I go over there and sit there. I go over there, pick up my son. I be sent out. I can go ring the bell, whatnot, call her, and she'll tell me I'm too early. It might be like 5 something. So one time it was like 5 after 5. I come and got him, and I said, "Well, I'm here. I mean, can you come out?" She said, "Well, you a little early. You got to come after 6. You can pick him up after 6." And I told her, "Well, it's not stated I have to be here after 6. I thought it was after I get off work." So she kept going on and on. So I had called the police. So I called the police. They come over there, they looked at the order and everything, asked me my questions, asked me Stoll about what was the problem, but they let me get my son. And they told her that she had to give me my son. You know, it's not a certain time stated I need to be there.
Right, yeah. Unfortunately, Your Honor, there were no times put in the original order. Was there ever a time when Miss Stoll called the police and had the police come to your home?
The first time that when they gave her a custodial parent, and that Christmas, me and my wife and Amari, I had got Amari. It was a Sunday night, and the police was knocking on the door, and they came in, and they said they there to get Amari, and his mother was outside. It was raining. It was like on December, like it was in December, but it was raining, and it was after 12. It was like 12:28 in the night. And I asked him, can he get him in the morning? He sleep. And the officers, you know, they said no. They wanted to see my order. They looked at the order, and they seen that it wasn't much to it, and they were saying that they can't just tell her she can't get him. So they let her. I had to put some clothes on him and get him ready to go with his mother. And
okay. So you had to wake him up to go?
I had to wake him up, yeah, and put his clothes on and get him ready to go with his mother.
Okay. Now, was this in 2021?
That was in 2020, I believe.
2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I believe that was 2020.
All right. Is there anything else you want to tell the judge about you not being able to get your visitation?
Well, I would have never just called no police to just go over there. I don't like my son around that type of stuff. And we had already talked to DFACS, me and her both, and they told us, do not call no police. You know, let's try to limit that and let's try to be cordial with each other. And I never did that. That's and Amari knows that I'm a very strict father, and I don't play. He don't talk to me any kind of way. He don't talk to nobody. I'll always be on him, and he's built his grades up. And I just want the court to know that I've been doing this for a long time, and I didn't take my son. That's it.
Okay. All right. I want to show you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 4. And tell us what this is.
That's a report card.
Okay. And this is for the year 2020, 2021?
Yes, ma'am. That's at Dunn-Air Elementary School. Yes.
Okay. And what were your concerns? And at this time, where was Omari living?
He was with his mother.
Okay. And what were your concerns about this report card?
Because, for number one, he shouldn't have been getting no Fs. Omari loved school, and I didn't understand why he was getting Fs. And his mother, even though she told the judge that she asked me about carrying him to school, I tried to let her carry him to school, and every time he had to go to school, he was late. So that's one of the reasons. And Omari think it's okay for an F, or he tell me he got an F. They say it's okay, but no, it's not okay. You know,
okay,
he can do better than that.
In 2022, at some point in time, Omari came to live at your home, correct?
Yes, he came to live with me.
Okay, and how was that accomplished? Did you go pick him up, or did his mom drop him off, or how did that happen?
Nope. It's for school, Miss Sanders?
No, as far as living with you in
No,
2022.
as far as living with me, she'll pick him up when you know when it's her time to have her visits, or she'll have somebody pick him up.
Okay, now
Let me back up. The 2021 school year. What year? What grade is that again? Third?
yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
This is the time when you're saying she has them or you have it.
She had him.
So this is when he was 7 and you took him and she got him again?
Yes.
Okay, and so she had him from 7 until what age?
She had him from 7. Really on it. I mean, he's really been with me. You know, he's really been with me. Only
So I'm
time
trying
his
to
mom
think
had.
with you, then what's the relevance of this?
Your Honor, can I give you some insight on that might be helpful, and it's information that the court actually already has.
Okay.
In the order from juvenile court, it shows that Omari was with Mr. Meadows in 2018. And it shows that he was ordered to go back to Miss Stowe in May of 2019.
19.
So this school year of 20 through 21, he was still with Miss Stowe.
So during the COVID crisis, he's with her.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, Your Honor. This is the 2020, 2021 school year. So yes, that's correct.
All right.
Okay. And so from the time he was 4 to 2019, and I can't remember, I can't do the calculations right now in my head as to what year it was that he was 4, but until 2019, he was with Mr. Meadows. Then from 2019 until 2022, he was with Miss Stowe.
Miss Stowe, right.
Okay.
And then he went back to Mr. Meadows, and it was May or June after that school year of 2022, May or June of 2022.
Okay, I got it now. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Meadows, in August of 2022, did he begin the school year with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now my question to you, so that you can help Your Honor out. When he came to you in May or June of 2022, how did you get him? How did that come about?
Well, when it come about, because I agreed to carry the court. To go to carry my son to school, and she didn't seem like Miss Stone didn't like she had no problem with that. She didn't have no problem. He came to school and make sure he got home. So, he been with me. He been with me in 22. It's just that I just took him to school, Miss Sanders. It wasn't like.
Okay, but now at that time he was in Dunair, and at some point you moved him to Shaw, Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw. I enrolled him in there.
Did that have anything to do with you getting Omari when you got him?
Yes, it did.
Okay, explain that to the judge.
Okay. After that school year, I enrolled him into Robert Shaw. And I told his mother I was going to enroll him into a specialty school. And she didn't have no problem with that. She called me and said, Ron, what school are you going to be in? I tell her it's going to be Robert Shaw. I sent her all the information because I go online and do all that. So after that, Marby just been with me. His mother get him every other weekend. Or if she didn't get him every other weekend, it might be a special day. She might get him for maybe a birthday or something. She might get him. I don't have a problem with that. But that's how that issue come to pass, because I enrolled him in that specialty school. And I wanted to make sure I had my eye on him when it came to his work.
Okay. Do you know of any times when she was over at Robert Shaw regarding Omari for parent-teacher conferences or any other matters?
No. I had went there one time, and one of the teachers had told me they had referred to, they had told me that she had came up there, but it wasn't for that. I think they came up there to drop him something off, some kind of drinks or something.
Okay.
But that was it. I don't think she ain't been in none of that stuff like that.
Okay. Did she ever tell you that she wanted you to bring Omari back to her so she would have primary and physical custody and he would go to school from her house?
No, ma'am, she didn't.
Was there any time when she refused to bring him back after her every other weekend visitation?
It was sometimes she refused, but she eventually she brought him back.
Okay. Let me, I want to show you these other report cards. This is a report card from the 2022-23 school year. What do you want the judge to know about this report card?
Well,
Is this,
his grades was, yes, his grades was improving, and you know, he was doing better at school. You know,
Ms. Sanders, you labeled all of these report cards as Exhibit 4. They're just all Exhibit 4.
They're all Exhibit 4 because I think there are only 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
3.
there are only 3 of them.
Okay.
And this particular, I think, I'm not sure what this is. This is something.
That's the map. That's the map progress thing. What my wife is doing now. Yeah, that's the map. That's his math scores.
Okay.
His map scores and stuff.
And this is from this year, this school year?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's from this school year.
Okay. I think that takes care of it. Okay, Your Honor, I would tender plaintiff's Exhibit 4.
All right. Any objections to 4 coming in, Ms. Stowe?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so admitted.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as plaintiff's Exhibit number 6. Mr. Meadows, can you tell me what this is?
Okay. Okay.
I think it's a text message.
That's my son. Yeah, that's from Amari. That's from Amari.
Text message that Ms. Stowe was referring to in her opening statement?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And what are your concerns about this? Well, first of all, who is this text message from and to?
That's from my son.
And who is he texting?
He texting his mother.
Okay. And what are your concerns about this text message?
Well, that really upset me because I hadn't even seen that till that night, and then the police came over here with Miss Stowe and said that my son was trying to sell. And I was arguing with them, coming like, not my son. My son ain't trying to do that in the bed. So they came in and checked on him, and they showed me what was going on. Yeah, I was upset because I didn't know anything about that. And I talked to Amari about that. And I told him don't never feel that way. I told him, you know, you can always come and talk to me. So
what time frame was this again?
that was
Look, what's the time frame? What year?
the year that was last year, year before last,
2023 or 2022?
2022.
2022. Does this happen before you filed or after you filed?
This was after.
After you filed. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. This was after.
Okay. Now, did you seek any help for Amari? Did you take him to the doctor, to a therapist, or anything?
Yeah. Yes, I did. They was gonna they gave him some therapy for a little bit. But that was it. And I had his counselor at school. I let them know what was going on, just, you know, so they can just speak with him sometime. I have to let the counselor know at school so they'll know what's going on. And but Mari, he doesn't feel that way. I don't know what caused him to say that with his mother that night.
Okay. Have you seen any other instances regarding him having any emotional or psychological breaks where you would be concerned?
Well, only thing I see with Mari is like when he was at his mother's house last weekend for last, and he called me because he said he was over his mother's boyfriend's house, and he said he was on the sofa, and he be getting all frustrated and getting bent out of shape. And I tell him, "That's your mom. You just got to do what she's saying, behave." And he just acting like he didn't want to be there. That's it.
Okay. So now when she gets him on her weekends, where are they going? Are they going to her home?
No, most of the time he goes to her mother's house. She don't, you know, he goes to her mother's house, or he'll be over her boyfriend's house, I guess. But he'd be at her mother's house most of the time, because it plenty of times she asked me, "Lerone, can you drop him off over there?" And I drop him off right over there at her mother's house for her.
When it's time.
Yes,
When it's time
yes,
to-
ma'am. Yes,
when it's
ma'am. I've been dropping them off.
Okay. When it's other times when it's time to pick Omari up for her every other weekend that she's been exercising, does she come to pick Amari up?
Not all the time. Not all the time. Most of the time I drop him, or she'll have somebody to come and pick him up. Like his sister might come pick him up.
Okay. Has there been?
I'm sorry.
Has there been anyone else other than her or
Her
daughter?
sister, her sister, her daughter, and her sister. That's been it. Them the only two people that will come and pick him up that I've seen.
Okay. Do you have any concerns about where Amari's going when he's not spending time with his mom?
I do. I always have, but I can't control that. But yeah, I do have concerns about it.
Why?
At the time, I had concerns about it because he was young, and it was keeping him away from my other kids, and I had to explain to their mother about a whole lot of things that's going on with Amari, and he's not acting funny towards them, and this and that. And I think I give you a text his mother sent me.
Let's see. I know you sent me some stuff yesterday, and I'm sorry, Your Honor, I wasn't able to get all of that. Let me tender plaintiff's exhibit number 6.
Okay.
Any objection to 6? Ms. Stoll?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 6 submitted.
Okay. You were mentioning your other children. How many other children do you have?
I got 2 boys, Marquise
Okay.
and Aiden.
Okay. And what are their ages?
17 and 16.
Okay. And are you paying child support for them?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you have a court order ordering you to pay child support for them?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much is that child support that you have to pay?
It'd be $375, but I'm always doing extra because I have to help them with their football and stuff like that.
Okay. So, but the court order is for $375?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. It might be a little more than that, but I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. Now, has Amari had an opportunity to spend time with your children, your other boys?
No. Once his mother got custody of him, everything kind of fell apart because we couldn't get together. And as Miss Stowe told me, she said she couldn't compete with that, which I don't know what she meant by it. But my sons weren't allowed to talk to him, and he couldn't go over there. He couldn't see him for a while.
Okay, but now Amari's been with you for a couple of years now. Has he
Mhm.
been able to establish a relationship with his brothers during this period?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, they have a good relationship. It's some nights, some weekends he'll go up there and they'll stay together. And then sometimes Aiden, my other son, he'll come here.
Was there a time when Miss Stowe told Amari, or someone in Miss Stowe's family, I'm not quite sure, told Amari that he didn't have brothers?
Yes, my son's mother, she was very upset about that because she was on the phone and she heard him saying that. And it hurt Aiden real bad because Aiden was hurt by it. But yeah, I don't know who told him that, but somebody said it.
Okay, so let me show you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 7. And this is your proposed parenting plan? Is that correct, Mr. Meadows?
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking at it. Yes, ma'am.
And you're asking the court for primary fiscal custody of Amari?
I am.
Are you okay with the every other weekend visitation that you have now?
I am.
What about the holidays? You okay with alternating the holidays?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And what about the summer? Are you okay with,
We split the summers.
okay, I think in here we have 4 weeks. Are you okay with that? 4 weeks?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So during the summer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have nothing further. Oh, well, I'd like to tender.
I'm sorry, before you tender it, go back up to summer again. What was the summer?
Okay, let's see. Summer is, it has a notification by April 1st from each parent.
But what was the time on it? 4 weeks? What's
4
the time?
weeks. 4 weeks every year for
Okay.
both parents.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I tender plaintiff 7, Your Honor.
All right, any objections to plaintiff 7, just the proposed parenting plan? This is what, it's
Yes,
just,
I do have objections, yes.
well, the objection, you might object to what's in it. We're just, she's just presenting it to me.
Okay,
You have a objection to her presenting it to me. Okay, so I'm gonna accept, I'm going to allow exhibit 7 into evidence.
Oh, Mr. Meadows, what's
Yes, ma'am.
going on with health insurance for Omari? Is he covered for health insurance?
I got it. I applied for it now, but he didn't have it. His mother had him on a peach care plan, and that's what I've been using. You know, when he was with me, but somehow I took him for a dental appointment about a month ago, and they say his insurance went up to date.
Was or
And
was not?
It was not, and I told his mother about it, and I told her she got the call, and like a couple weeks later, I called her. She said that she couldn't reach anybody, and she gave me a caseworker's number. So what I done was I just called. I called Children's Services, and I applied for him to have it, and I'm waiting for an answer right now.
Now, this is peach care?
This is speech care, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It'll be like that for the moment, because until I get something permanent, because like the previous job I had all kind of insurance, and he wasn't on there. You know, it was just with nobody on there actually at the time. But I'm going to put him on a better insurance than peach care.
Okay. One more issue I want to talk to you about. Since you've had Omari from 2022, were you still paying child support to Ms. Stowe any period of that time?
Yes, ma'am. I still had to pay child support. They was taking out my check.
Okay, so that was from the job you had before?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they always deducted my child support and stuff.
And they took it out until when?
They took it out up until, I want to say it was October or September last year.
Of 2023?
Yes, ma'am.
So from
Good.
June of 2022 until October of 2023, you were paying child support?
Yeah, that was my last check.
Okay, and but during that period of time, Omari was with you?
Yes, ma'am. He's with me. Yeah, he's
Okay.
been with me.
Now, did you receive any money back from Ms. Stowe regarding child support during that period of time?
No, Ms. Stoll ain't never gave me anything, no, ma'am.
Okay, I have nothing further of Mr. Meadows, Your Honor.
All right, at this time, Ms. Stowe, you can ask Mr. Meadows questions about the things that he just discussed.
yes, Your Honor. So for the child support, I just received a letter stating about that child support. I did download.
Ms. Stowe,
Yes.
there's going to be a time for you to just talk and
Oh.
explain and present evidence. Right now is a question for you to question Mr. Meadows. So if Mr. Meadows said something that was not correct, or if Mr. Meadows knows some information that you want to bring out, you can ask him these questions now. So if you want to challenge something he said, you challenge it now.
Okay,
There's some information you think he will bring out to be helpful to you, you can ask those questions now.
okay. Thank you, Your Honor. So with the issue with Donner Elementary School, with Omari grades, that's during the time that he was in football. And that address, Omari lived with me in the room.
Objection, Your Honor. I think she's there. I haven't heard a question at this
All
point.
right, you have to get to the question, Ms. Stowe.
Okay, Larome, while Omari lived with me going to Donair, did he or did he not go on the bus? Because it's right down the street. Yes or no?
He went on the bus. Yeah,
Every day?
not every day.
Larome Meadows, I live on the bus route. Omari took the bus every single day that I dropped him at the
Objection, Your
corner.
Honor. I think
You
she's
have to ask
taking.
her a question.
Did not go on the bus.
He went on the bus sometimes, but it's times that you couldn't wake up to carry him to work, to school when you had to carry him.
Larome Meadows, I live walking distance from
Objection,
bus
Your Honor.
stop.
You got to ask,
I
you can
did.
ask him, you can ask him a question.
Oh, Larome,
Mhm.
since I live walking distance, I can walk from the house to the corner. Why would I not wake up and take Omari to school?
Objection.
was-
I think she's asking him to speculate about what she may or may not do.
All right, ask a different question.
Okay. Why would I not wake up in time to make sure Omari be on the bus?
Objection, Your
Larome.
Honor.
Okay, well, let me ask you, do you know why she wouldn't wake up in time?
She was always late, Your Honor. She always was late.
Okay,
If they had to call me from the school and ask me, is Amari coming to school today? I said, hold on, let me call his mother.
That is not true.
That is very
Okay.
true.
you have to ask him a question. Only
The Lon
question.
Meadows, we can go to the school and get documentation of who ride the bus. And also, yes.
These are just questions. You can prove your case later.
Oh,
Any questions that you might have that you want to challenge something he said
yes.
or bring out additional information.
At 2018, yes. On 2018, what is the reason why you had Amari in 2018?
In 2018.
What was your
I
reason?
had Amari before 2018.
2017, what is your reason why of having Amari?
You brought him to my house. You brought him to Lori's house.
What's the reason why I brought him to your house?
You said that you can't deal with him. He's not listening to you. Your exact words.
And that Christmas, the police came to my home and his grandmother's house. Why did you send the police to the house?
Police went at your house on Christmas and you sent them to my house. You sent the police to my house. You got Amari up out of the bed at 12:28 in the night. I have video.
What
of
is
that,
the reason why I was at your house? Was it my weekend?
No, it wasn't your time. It wasn't your time. You just wanted to get him.
So the second question with Robershaw School and the situation with Amari's insurance, did I not text you? Did I not call you and explain the situation to you when you told me what happened?
At Robert Shaw School? He had
Yes.
insurance then.
When you going to, we had issues then as well.
Not with his insurance.
So the other question that you brought up with this new insurance again, when I called you, when you called me and you told me that you took Amari, then I speak to you, send you a text message, told you the calls I was making, who I spoke to. I'd send a picture and let you see what was going on. Did not tell you that or send it to you?
You told me about the caseworker. You sent me the caseworker's phone number.
Did I send you a name and how I was?
And you sent me the name, and I called,
Mhm.
and I couldn't reach there. So what I did, I reached out to the Family and Children's Services, and they helped me from there.
And did I not tell you as well that I did fill out the application online and they're not able to locate it? Did I not tell you that?
You did tell me that, but also
And
you also told me that you couldn't reach anybody, and I told you you have to keep trying because it's a lot of people trying to reach them every day.
And how long was the time frame I was trying to reach the DFACS personnel? How long did I tell you I was trying to get them?
I don't recall that.
It's in your text message because we
I don't-
communicated through text message.
Right. I don't remember how long.
Okay, no further questions. No further questions. I have no further questions.
Okay. Any additional questions, Ms. Sanders?
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any additional witnesses?
Mr. Meadows' wife, but I'm not sure she's gonna say anything different than what he's already said. And I don't know if that's something, if that would be redundant.
Well, if we'll let Ms. Stokes report, and if there's something that she indicates that you think the wife would give some additional information on, we can do it at that time.
Okay.
In your rebuttal case.
That's fine. Then other than that, I guess we could do that on rebuttal. Plaintiff rests.
All right. Ms. Stoll, now this is your opportunity to talk with the court about your evidence. Now I know some of those evidence didn't download, but you can share it like you did previously. You were able to share it, some of the things that were not able to download.
Yes.
All right. So you'll be able to do that. All right. Now it's important that you kind of try to talk in order. Don't flip from one concept to another. So try to think about it in order. Like if you want to talk all about your finances one time, then you want to talk about school, then you'll talk about maybe the parenting plan. If you can try to keep it in some order, or it can be chronological, but it needs to be in some order so I can follow you. Okay.
Okay. So yesterday I did uploaded some documents. My bank statement was uploaded. I did upload the different times that Mr. Meadows sent the police at the house. The pages, I did upload that. And I also did upload the document, the initial conversation, which leading up to where Omari had that statement saying that he's trying to sell. I did upload that documents to the court yesterday. And as of today, I tried to upload, I did get the information on all the deposits Mr. Larome made for his child support. I do have a record of that. And I also have a record showing my pay stub, as you can see before, a record showing the phone bill. I have the documents.
You don't have to tell me what you have.
Oh, okay.
Just go ahead and tell me your case. And then when you get to that document that helps with that matter, you can go ahead and tell me and present that document. You don't need to tell me everything that you
Okay.
have. Just go ahead and talk. And then when you get a document that corroborates or supports what you're saying, you can submit it.
Okay. So with the situation with Omari back in first of all, in 2018 is when I was diagnosed with the thyroid cancer. 2017, I got a job to support the family because Lon Meadows didn't have a job that time. He just did odds and ends. So I got the job to where I was going overseas to work. It was discussed with Mr. Meadows, which I discussed with Mr. Meadows, letting him know that this is a job, this is what it entails, and for Omari to come and stay with him, given the alternation to where he comes and see his sister and his grandmother on the weekends. That was discussed. And also what was discussed, that anytime he's enrolling in any school, I do need to know the information, and I will. And every time he went to whatever school, I did go up there to see the teachers. So that's one of the reasons why Mr. Meadows had Omari, because at that time, my family didn't have a car and couldn't get him back and forth. So Mr. Meadows agreed that he's going to keep Omari while I go to work overseas so I can support the family. And also was stated to Mr. Meadows that when I'm over there, I'm also going to support my son. Got over there, run a test, and they found that my thyroid was swollen. So I didn't get the job. I had to come back home, and I went to the training in Texas. I had to come back home, go to the doctor to verify what happened, because that was preventing me from getting a job overseas. Went to the doctor, found out that I had thyroid cancer. So I no longer could have gone overseas. The cancer had spread, and during that time, Omari was staying with Larome while I tried to go do surgery in 2018. I did my surgery. Omari was living with his dad, but he wasn't able to come to the house because after the surgery, I could not be exposed to anyone or anything. It had to be in confinement. During that time, Mr. Meadows I let him know exactly what was happening. We went to court. I got granted custody back of Omari because information came to the house that he wasn't living with me no more, and I changed his information. I had no clue of that until I saw the letter. So I did, during that time, was in contact with Mr. Meadows, letting him know exactly what was happening, except I did not tell him that I found out I had a thyroid cancer and I had to do surgery. During that time, he was with his dad. Yes, he was. Then after that, the period passed, the surgery, everything was done. Everything was fine, thank God. And at the same time, I went back to court and get custody of Omari. Omari had a lawyer, and the things that Mr. Larome said, and he came and investigate, was not true. Everything that was said back then, it was not true. During that time as well, the reason why Larome is out of the home, because he was physically and verbally abusive. That's why he came out of the home. There's a court document.
Put yourself on mute, Mr. Larome.
There's a court document right now that he went to jail. All of that is in the court.
Objection, Your Honor. If we don't have a conviction, a certified conviction, I don't think
he did serve time.
Well, I don't think she's telling me that he went to jail to certify that he has a conviction for credibility.
Oh.
I think she's just indicating the things that occurred during their relationship.
Yes.
Overall.
And DFAX, and they have all the case notes. DFAX was constantly sent to the house by Mr. Meadows. They came, they did inspection. As of right now, the reason why Omari is over at his grandmother's house, because I'm under construction. Mr. Meadows used to live with me, and he did some repairs to the house, and there were damages. So I'm currently under construction. Omari has a room to where he can come and stay. When he's over by his grandmother's house, they take him several places, and she can be a witness to it, as well as my sister. They go several places. That's the reason why he's over here most of the time. And I am providing whatever financial support whenever
What do you mean he's over there most of the time?
With his grandmother, because of the construction I'm having at the house and the dust and everything.
I know, but what do you mean he's over? When you say he's over there, where are you talking about?
over by his grandmother's house on the weekends when we alternate the weekend.
Okay, you're saying when you have him,
Yes, when I
take
have,
most of the time with your mom
yes, and there,
because of construction.
yes.
Okay, you're not saying that when Mr. Lerone has him, he's still spending most of the time with you.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
No, it's just because of construction, as he
Okay.
mentioned, that he drops him over here. And I do go pick him up. And sometimes I'm not able to because of my job and how I'm working. But I also text Mr. Meadows and let him know I'm getting off at a certain time and I'm going to be picking up Omari afterward. It's all in a text message because we cannot have a verbal conversation. The second thing, I do have evidence as to the child support payments that he made. It's in my email. I'm not able to upload that. Can I show it to you, or
What is this regarding?
his child support payment that he claims that he sends and how much it's supposed to be? I have documentation of what he deposits in the account.
Okay.
So do I show it now, or?
Yes, you can show it.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see something. Yes.
Okay, so that is the deposit.
Okay. Where is the deposit?
This is his deposit that that I gotten. Oh, it shows as the credits. Or
You're saying how much he's paid in child
yes,
support for
how much he's paying for
2023?
child support? Yes,
Okay.
this is what is on the website.
So you're saying he is paying properly or not paying properly?
He's not paying properly. This is all his deposit that he did.
Do you know what you're claiming that he owes you?
So he's supposed to pay $385. He didn't. I explained to Mr. Meadows.
He was supposed to pay $385 for what, for work, and how much did he actually pay? Do
This
you
is
know how
what
much he actually paid?
it shows, different amounts.
Your Honor, I would,
The total.
Your Honor, I have
Sorry.
an objection
Ms. Sanders?
to her statement of 385. She's mistaken. She's using the amount that he owes for the other two children that he has. The court order that you have that's attached to our petition shows that he was ordered to pay $330.
Oh,
per-
330. My mistake. 330.
Okay, but what are you contending that he's behind on?
So right now he's not paying his full amount. He did not pay his full amount as he stated.
Oh, I understand he didn't pay his full
Right.
amount. How much money is he behind on?
I am not sure, Judge. I am not sure because I did call the child support.
So the child support, he paid his money through child support. So child support would know what he's behind on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I called the child support person and they couldn't give me but so much information as they stated. I was able to download these deposits that he did. And
Okay.
that's his deposits.
Yeah, these deposits are not going to help me make that determination as to what is owed. I'm going to need you need to log into log into child support, and that'll show how much he has paid and what he's supposed to have. You need to log into your account for that.
Okay, I will work on that. And secondly, Mr. Meadows brought up that he never sent the police to the house. So I'm not sure if you can see the documents that was uploaded at the court yesterday concerning the different time frame that the police went to the house. Are you able to see that document?
No.
Your Honor, I have seen that document because it was emailed to me, and I would object to that because it's just a listing from Ms. Stoll as to the times that that the police came. It's
Okay.
not official.
It's not like, okay, so Ms. Stoll, instead of submitting that document, you can just tell me what the dates were. You can state them per your testimony, but there's no need to submit a document unless they're, volumes and volumes of information.
Okay, so Lerone started sending the police since May of 2020 to the home for wellness check up until the last date was March of 2023.
So how many times total?
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
He sent
25.
24 times since what?
25 times. Yes, 25 times.
What's the time period for that? How many years are we talking about?
We're talking from since 2020 to present.
So in 4 years, he sent them 24 times. So basically,
Yes, 25 times. To the
and
whole-
those were well checks?
Yes. Every time Omari comes over on my weekends, Lerome is always calling the police. I also spoke to Lerome and told him that whenever Omari is in my custody, he doesn't have a reason to call Omari and ask him no questions. And even if Omari calls him and complains or asks him for anything, he should notify me. He didn't. One time, a few times, I took Omari's phone from him. As I told Lerome, when Omari's with me on my weekend, he don't need to be in contact with Omari. There's no need. He's with his other parent, his mother. But Lerome constantly, every single time, he's with Omari, calls Omari, check up on Omari late at night. And when the time I took the phone from Omari, Omari went on my Alexa to call his dad several times. And several times during the wellness check, the police came, they stated their name, they give the badge number. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And I made a documentation of how many times they came to the house by Lerome for wellness check. And several times with conversation with Lerome is to not send the police at my home, because when he's with his grandmother as well, the police came over at her house as well. And they can testify to that whenever Lerome send them over here. And
does the police ever indicate to you, are you sure it's Mr. Lerone that's sending them? Do they tell you who's sending?
Yes, I already know it's Lerome. There's no reason from the words that they mentioned to me. I asked them, why are you here? They said they get a call for the wellness check. I said, already knows Lon Meadows, because the other kids, they're already grown. I don't have that issue with their dad sending the police to the house.
Okay.
So sometimes they didn't mention, yes, it's Lon Meadows sent me, or I already told them. I said, you here for the wellness check because Mr. Lerome sent you. And even when he sent the DFAX people at the home, I already asked them, they said they cannot let me know or inform me of the reason why they're at the house. So I said, if you're at the house, it means Lon Meadows call you. Now, what is the reason? And every time a DFAX case worker comes to the home, I ask them, can you please send me as documentation if you do or do not find whatever you're looking for, as well as when the case closed and is over 40-something cases that's in the system, as I was told. Secondly, Omari have behavioral problems. And when DFAX was involved, they advised of him going to counseling session.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to object to anything someone else said.
Okay, you can't say what someone else said.
Okay. DFAX order counseling session for Omari, which he attends sometimes. He attended sometimes at my home. I did inform Mr. Meadows of those counseling sessions that was done at his home during the time when Omari was going to school, after school, when he picked him up before practice. Mr. Meadows was informed of that. DFAX said that all the information is in the system and it can be accessed. I cannot access it. All the counseling session that they advise Omari to go to, because they can see the behavioral pattern that he has. Even in school, got a call from the teacher, spoke to them. He attended the counseling session. And as while was living with me, I made sure he attended the counseling session. And for this incident that he tried to harm himself, he's supposed to have counseling session as well. Mr. Meadows refused for him to go to the counseling session. Because
so he doesn't do counseling right now?
No, and he needs it. He needs it because every time Omari is with me, Lerome gives him a phone and he does call him on a constant basis. And from him speaking to his dad, yes, he gets very rude and disrespectful. And I inform his dad when he's with his grandmother, if they're out or at home, he is rude and disrespectful as well. And I have to speak to him concerning that. And with the bruises on his skin, he did hit me and I did discipline him. And we had counseling session for that. Whatever the court, DFAX put in place, all that information they have there. Then I did went and see the teacher. I found out that my information wasn't at that school. I did contacted Mr. Meadows. Everything is through text message, and let him know. And he said that, yes, my name is there. I had my kids, his sister, at each school in event that something happens and I'm not able to be reached and someone needs to go pick them up. Their names was down on the list. I was informed that Mr. Meadows took them off the list. So it was difficult.
Objection, Your Honor. That's something that would be hearsay.
It's the same. You can ask Mr. Meadows that question, but you can't indicate. Well, if you get that opportunity, but you can't bring it up now because it's considered hearsay at this juncture.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Mr. Meadows, I tried to keep communication, and he did get Omari every single time that he needs to pick him up. And also I do go pick up Omari every single time it was my time. And I explained to Mr. Meadows, when is my weekend with Omari? His brothers wants to spend time with him, or his brothers wants to go fishing or do something on my weekend. As I explained to Mr. Meadows, when is my weekend? He's not allowed to go spend time with brothers. He can spend time on your weekend because it's alternating the weekends. So that became an issue with his brothers not being able to spend time with Omari on my weekend. And I also explained to him that he has the whole week. Whenever he has Omari, that's when his brothers should make arrangement and spend time with him. Secondly, with Omari living with Mr. Meadows, as I explained before, the issue that we're having, and this was a discussion with Mr. Meadows about alternating with the weeks and also me dropping Omari off. But that ended up being escalated to where he always there early in the morning, not give me opportunity to take him to school. And I would not argue just to keep the peace. And I did allow Omari to go with Mr. Meadows for him to drop him to school. With my new job again, when Mr. Meadows told me that he enrolled Omari in Champion Middle School, I said we need to go back to the plan to where I can drop Omari to school because my time changed. I explained that my time has changed, so I can drop Omari to school and you can pick him up as usual. Mr. Meadows had no agreement with that. And I did go up to the school. I did introduce myself to the teachers. I also let them know my new phone number that was changed. I did speak to them, and a couple of teachers I did meet while I was in the office. And for the meetings, I did not attend his meetings because of the time frame. What I did, I called the teacher, not from Champion, from Donner when he was there. I did spoke to the teacher verbally. We had a conference to where I did keep up with the grades to know what is exactly going on. And I also told the teachers that the meeting times that they have, I may or may not be able to attend it. But when he has his graduation or whatever needs to be done, we were in attendance, including his sisters and his grandmother was there in place of me, because sometimes I did have to work. I wasn't able to attend his meetings, and I wasn't able to attend some of his practice that he went to. I did attend some of them I could not because of where they were located, and also the time frame that they had and how my job is and how I had to work. Lerome had a flexible schedule more than me, so he was able to take him to whatever meeting. As for the Cub Scouts, he did mention the Cub Scouts to me, but then we got into an argument to where he wants me to drop Omari off at the Cub Scout. And I did explain to him, I cannot drop him off there because of my time schedule. And I needed to speak to whatever personnel there for the Cub Scout because I have questions. Omari didn't attend the Cub Scout. He never went. As far as I know, he never went because I wasn't able to get hold of no one to speak to find exactly what it entails. When Lerome found out that they had rewarded Omari full custody, give me full custody, that is when things start escalating out of control. with Mr. Meadows.
And when was that?
When he came back after 2018, after the surgery, and I got better, I had to get a doctor report saying that.
Okay, so that was the 2019 through 2022.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything started escalated out of control with the constant harassment, defects constantly coming to the house. Mr. Meadows constantly calling Omari every time he's with me.
I would object that we've already heard this testimony, and she's just going over and saying the same thing over and over again.
Okay, I'm going to give her a little leeway, Ms. Sanders, but I understand. All right, go ahead.
Yes. So during all that time is the constant of everything. We did not agree. I did not agree with Omari living with with Mr. Meadows. I did not agree on that. I've never agreed on that until this day. I never agree on that. I already told the room that Omari has behavioral problems and is getting worse. And yes, in fact, a couple of weeks Sunday, that was my weekend that he came to, I believe that was the 17th of that weekend. And we were at my boyfriend's house. We went to church the Sunday. During that time, Omari was allowed to go the Saturday to his friend's birthday party. I already told the room that. And I already spoke to the parents and it was okay. Apparently, without my understanding, a conversation between Lerome and Omari that he was supposed to go skating. I did not allow that. And I heard on the phone, Lerome telling Omari that he's coming to get him and also he needs to walk out to the house where he was so Lerome can come and get him. I already told Lerome to stop calling Omari whenever he's with me or else I'm going to seize the phone. And he constantly keep in contact with Omari. And even Omari was behaving not nice, hitting the person's furniture, punching the pillow. Omari has issues to where he needs help. And every time his father speaks to me in front of Omari is very disrespectful, cursing, carrying on, hanging up the phone, calling back constantly. So when when Mr. Meadows addressing me, Omari is there. I put him on speaker sometimes. Omari, your dad is speaking to you, whatever the case is. I did have a conversation with Mr. Meadows on the 17th to where he's telling me that Omari is 12 years old and I should allow him to go to his friends to skating or bowling or whatever they were doing. I told him no. On my weekend, he was already allowed to go one time to the birthday party. If I do not speak to a parent and know exactly who is going to be attending or who's going to be looking at these children, he's not allowed to go. So it did escalate it out to control Sunday that Omari was there. And his mannerism is getting worse. He is very rude and disrespectful to his grandmother, who had a heart attack and she can only use her one hand. So if she asks him to do something, he is very rebuttal, and the answer that he would tell her, or go do it yourself, or go do the
objection, Your Honor.
Okay, you can't say what someone else says.
Okay, she can contest to that, everything that he said.
Your Honor, is it possible for us to stop?
Ms. Sanders?
Is it possible for us to stop the screen share?
Oh, yes, because it'll be easier. Yes, if you could stop the screen share, Ms. Stoll, that way everybody a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Yes. So Omari's behavior has been becoming, and with Lerome, I spoke to Lerome. I did speak to Lerome verbally that we need to get back to where Omari comes back to live with me and we alternate the weekends as we're supposed to. I went to the school. I did verify, is my address is being used for Omari to attend the school? She said, yes. I wanted to verify that. And the same issue I have at the new school, Champion, when I spoke to the secretary and I asked her, do they have a list of persons that if in event that I cannot come and pick Omari up, does he have his sisters on there?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, what Ms. Sanders, the objection is hearsay?
No, well, she hadn't gotten to that quite yet, but
Okay.
we've heard all this before. She's testified that she's already testified to what she was just saying about going to the school and asking if her name was on the documents. She's just kind of
We're speaking about the new school.
over and over again.
We're speaking about a new school because in your
Is there another school? You actually testified about that. I think dealing with Donaire. Is this another school?
yes, the champion, the new school that
This is Champion.
yes.
All right, then you're over.
So yes, every school I had to go to make sure that my information is in there because Mr. Meadows did register Maury without my knowledge.
So you're saying he didn't register you at Robert Shaw or Champion?
I went to Robert, so I went to Donaire. It was issued there with him not trying to register my name. So I was able to get it put on there, showing my documents. Robert Shaw, I did went there to make sure that my information is there. So in event of anything. And also tried to check to see if his sister is there. They couldn't give me much information. They said, no, Mr. Meadows are the ones who register Omari, and he is the one who put whatever name, emergency contacts.
So your position is that you had your daughter on there to pick him up, but that was not carried over.
No, none of them was carried over. Even his grandparent, I had nothing of that was carried over. I went to Champion. I didn't make sure that my name was there, but nothing carried over to where is an emergency. For any emergency that they can reach out to his sisters. And as Lerome stated, yes, I did send his sister or his aunt over to his home to pick up Omari sometimes because I wasn't able to. So that was discussed. I sent a text message to make sure, because I work from home and I couldn't always use the phone. So I make sure I send a text message to Lerome stating who's going to come and pick them up. Or if I'm not able to pick Omari up because of the job, I make sure I do inform him through text message. Not verbally.
Okay.
And the reason why Lerome was living with his friend Laurie, that is during the time when DFAX was at the house and they see Mr. Meadows' behavior, and that's during the time when they had the abuse and he had to leave. They were there, they were witness as to why he had to leave the house. And from then we did stay in communication.
Can I have Ms. Stowe clarify when she says he? I think she means Omari had to leave her house and go stay with
Mr. Meadows had to leave my house.
I thought she was talking about Mr. Meadows.
I'm talking about Mr. Meadows.
She's talking about Mr. Meadows.
Yes, I'm talking about Mr. Meadows.
All right, you may proceed.
Yes. So the reason why he mentioned Mr. Malone is because when Mr. Meadows left the home while DFAX was there, they asked him if he had some place to stay in terms of where Omari can attend during visitation. And he did give Laurie's name. And that was during the time when we still did alternating with him seeing Omari. I've never kept Omari away from his dad. I've never done that.
I'm sorry, can you give me one moment? All right. Ms. O, you can begin. But before you begin, let me ask you this, because for some reason, this is the thing I'm not clear on. I understand the time frame that Mr. Meadows had the child from 2017 to 2019. And then from 2019 to 2022, you had him. And then in 2022, he has the child. Tell me, how did he get the child in 2022 if you're saying you had the order indicating that you can keep the child? How did he get the child? Because initially you were talking about something of spanking of the shoe, but that apparently occurred in 2017. So I'm confused. How did he end up with a child?
So as I explained before, during the pandemic, Omari was living with me. Lerome told me did alternate in the same weekends. Lerome told me that he enrolled Omari in Champion. We got that information, and we still had the incident to where we're not coming to an agreement with him leaving from me to go to school and picking him up and so forth. So during the first time, it did happen for a couple of weeks that when we alternate in the weeks, that Lerome was able to come to the house because he didn't want me to take him to school. He got Omari to take to school. Then when the argument and the fighting constantly in front of Omari, when it comes to school, Lerome showing up at the house very early to take him, I said, no, it has to stop. I did explain to Lerome that my new job, what I started, these are the hours. Can we come to an agreement to where we still alternate the weeks and the weekend, but with one exception, when it's my week, I can drop Omari to school, but I'm not able to pick him up because of the time of my lunch and him getting out, of Omari getting out to school. Jerome said no, he's not going to do it. So what I decided to do, so the fortunate argument is not going to happen. I said, Jerome, then Omari can stay with you just because of the school issue. I did went to the school to find out if there was a bus that can come around in the area. There was no bus.
So why did you agree to Champion if Champion is out of your district?
I did not know about Champion. Mr. Meadows told me about Champion.
But Ms. Stone, I thought you had the final decision. You didn't have the order on him at that time?
No.
Well, who had the order on it?
I have the order on Omari. But while Omari is living with Mr. Meadows, Mr. Meadows went and did all those changes.
Ms. Stoll, what I'm asking you this, listen to me very carefully. You have the order. Even if he had changed him to Champion, if you didn't want him to go there, you could have changed him back because you have the order. Why didn't you change him back?
I did ask Jerome about Champion School. What is Champion School about? And it's closer to where I'm living. So that's why I agree. I can drop him to school. It's not some way far that I have to drive and take him.
So at some point, day 3, you realize that he comes out of school after your job and you realize you cannot keep him with you and keep him at Champion. You can take him back to his old school and you have the bus route because it's a few feet from your house, you said, or a few. So you could very well have changed him back 3rd day of school, 5th day of school, the 1st week. Okay, 2nd week, 3rd week, you know it ain't working. Why not change him back to that school? You're not going to, because Champion is a theme school. You have to apply for that school, right?
Yes.
So, and that's a process to get into that school. But if you remove him from Champion, you can put him back to his feeder school no matter what. Why didn't you remove him back to your feeder school if you realize that you would have to let him live with Lerone, who you claim you did not want him to live with, if he attended that school? What were you considering?
So when he was at Donair, Mr. Meadows took him out from Donair and enrolled him in the Robert Shaw School, which I didn't have no knowledge of. We had some discussion concerning that. So when I checked the distance to where Robert Shaw School is, that's when I agree. I said, okay, I can drop him off to school early in the morning. That's not a problem. But can an agreement again, can he, when he stays here, can you please pick him up in the afternoon so we can meet halfway? He said no.
And when he said no,
Robert,
and you realized that that was going to prevent you from being able to work and care for your son, why didn't you pull him back to the feeder school?
Are you talking about the feeder school at Donair? That was just the elementary school.
So Robert Shaw is a theme school too, I think. Yes.
When Omari was residing with Lerone, I did not find out about Robert Shaw until he finished doing the paperwork for Robert Shaw. Then he called and let me know. I enrolled him in Robert Shaw. I had no.
So, Ms. O, listen to me very carefully. Do you understand that you got papers from the county, from the Superior Court, or even if it was transferred to juvenile, indicating that you had primary on this child? Did you understand that?
Yes.
Did you understand because you have primary on the child address and everything is based on what you have? Do you understand that?
Yes.
Did you understand that if you wanted to, if you didn't want your child to go to Robert Shaw or Champion, did you understand you could bring that child back to his regular feeder school, which I guess would have been Donair? Did you understand that?
So he already with Donair, there's.
That's not my question. Did you understand?
Yeah, I understand
you
all of that.
Moved him back to Donair.
Yes, I understand.
My question is, why did you not do that if you understood that Mr. Lerone's, Mr. Meadows' position was that if he was going to take him to school, he would be living with him? It sounds like that's the position at least that's the position you understood he was taking. So if you knew that was his position is going to be, he needs to live with me in order for him to go to this school, because that's the only way I'm going to pick him up and take him. When you understood that, why did you continue to allow it?
When I found out about Omari's school, I did do some research and I had a conversation with Mr. Meadows. When I speak to the school, they said the kids are supposed to go to whatever zone that the address relates to. I had a discussion with Lerone and I told him, I said, okay, I'm going to agree with Omari going to that Robert Shaw. I did some research on Robert Shaw, found that it was a good school. He did explain to me the reason why. I said, okay, I agree on that. I said, the next thing is we have to alternate the weeks on where Omari is staying. Can you meet me halfway to say that you're going to pick up Omari while I drop him off?
And he told you no.
And he said no.
And what did you do after that?
I told him, I said, at this point, we were going back and forth. He did come and pick him up a couple of times.
Ma'am,
That's
that's not my
when
question.
I did tell
My
him,
question. My question is very simple.
I like to school.
When you realized that he told you he was not going to agree with that, and neither was he going to go back and forth on the weekdays while he was in school, you realized you would only have your son on the weekends, correct?
Yes, during the school time.
And you were satisfied with that?
Yes, on the agreement that whenever we have to meet halfway with Omari in terms of whatever needs to be done for him, that was the agreement. And
what's the agreement again?
With whenever Lerome has him, because my timing for my job, I was not able to pick Omari up. So that's why Lerome didn't have a job during then. He was doing odds and ends. So he had an opportunity to pick Omari up because of his flexible time.
That's not, you're not listening to me. You've said that multiple times, but you're not answering the question. The question is, you realized that when he said no, you would have your son on the weekends because he would be taking him back and forth to school, correct?
Yes.
At no point in time, once he told you no, did your son live with you during the weekday?
No, he did not say that.
No, I didn't ask you if he said it. I asked you at any point in time, once Mr. Meadows told you no, that he would have to stay with him and he would get him back and forth to school in that manner. Once he said that, you understood that to be the case, correct?
Yes. And during that time, I did reach out to get assistance for my family or try to organize someone to pick up or drop off Omari. And I was not able to get that extra help.
Right. So you were not able to get the extra help, right? So
yes.
You understood your son would be at Champion and living with his father.
Yes. During the week.
You've known that for about a year.
Yes, during the week. And I did explain all this to Mr. Meadows that I did try to get.
Ms. Stoll, you understood that, correct?
Yes, that he's going to be with him. Yes.
Why are you asking for something different now when you made that decision over a year or maybe even 2 years ago at this juncture? I'm confused. What's happened?
His behavior.
Okay.
There's a lot of changes.
What behavior that we need to deal with? Because it sounds like you already decided you prefer and listen, there's nothing wrong with it. Champion is a good school. You have to decide, okay, if it means my son goes to a better school and he has to live with his dad, that's a good decision to make. Okay. So I'm not trying to belittle that decision. What I'm trying to understand is, why are we backtracking now? Why, when it was okay for you to do that in 2021 or 2022, I'm trying to understand, why is there a problem now in 2023? So tell me what the problems are so we can probably look at those, try to see what we need to do to fix those in the parenting plan so that everybody walks away happy and, more importantly, doing what's in the best interest of the child, right?
Yes.
So my question to you is, after he told you no, and you realized your son was going to be spending the weekday at Mr. Meadows' home and alternating weekends with you, what happened to make you dislike that decision?
His behavior that is happening right now.
Which is what?
Omari's behavior, not
Omari's behavior. Okay.
Omari's behavior.
All right. So tell me, Omari's behavior, because Omari is disrespectful to you, and you think that's because Mr. Meadows doesn't put his foot down.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't. And I did get a call from the teacher from the school concerning his behavior and how he was behaving. I did spoke to Mr. Meadows about that. And also every time Omari gets out of hand, I did make sure I text Lerome and let him know that he has to speak to Omari concerning his behavior. But whenever me and Mr. Meadows have any type of conversation, it's at his residence, then it escalated to the cursing, the calling names, and whatever else he calls me.
Okay. When you have Omari, you don't like the interference that Mr. Meadows does with the child. That is the constant talking between devices, cell phones,
yes,
Alexa and all that. You don't like that because it prevents you from having your time with him.
Yes.
Okay. Have you had an opportunity to sit down and talk with your son about what his wants and desires are?
No, not as yet. We did speak about, I mostly talked to Omari about his behavior. I'm concerned about his behavior. We speak about his behavior, and whenever he does go in school, I do take him out. I do send information to Mr. Meadows that I know that I will be taking him out. Even if it's on his weekend, I do ask him if I can take him out. He did something good in school, so he gets a reward for it. But my talk with Omari is about his behavior and how he's doing in school and at home or wherever he is. Now, it's getting out of hand.
Right now, Champion is close to your home.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So there are times where you could take him to school, you just can't pick him up because I think
I
you
just
said your
can't
hours
pick
are 10 to 6.
Yes. And that was discussed with Mr. Meadows, yes. And the bus that comes in our area is not close to the house. So it's easier just to drop him to school in the morning.
Oh,
The
it's easier
location.
for you to drop him off,
Yes.
rather than him to try to take the
The bus, yeah, is not close. And then once I drop him off, then I can head to work. But because I work in Alpharetta.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I know I'm probably out of place, and Your Honor, you can tell me if I'm wrong. But it's been one thing after another that's inconsistent. She just said she works from home. Now she's saying she works in Alpharetta.
I do both.
What?
I do both. Even if I work from at home, I can still drop him off, but I'm still not able to pick him up. And if I go to work, I can still drop him off too. Is the pickup is the problem.
One of the first things I asked her, Your Honor, was, have you spoken?
You'll get an opportunity to cross her because she's, you'll have that opportunity. Right now, I'm trying to kind of just get to the meat of it. Because I've given Ms. Stoll an opportunity to kind of present how she present. Now I'm going to ask the questions I need. Thereafter, you'll have an opportunity. Okay.
All right.
All right. And I'm trying to make sure I got all these dates and times and things that you've presented to me. All right. So Champion is closer to your house.
Yes.
Okay. And what area of town is that? That's the Stone Mountain area.
That's Stone Mountain. Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Meadows, how far is Mr. Meadows home from Champion?
Over 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's in Lithonia.
Okay, he's in Lithonia.
Lithonia.
Okay, Lithonia area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how do you know how Mr. Meadows how Mr. Meadows gets Omari to school?
He drops him off in the morning.
Okay, so he doesn't ride the bus there or
No.
back. Mr. Meadows, that's from your understanding, takes him and picks him up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you indicated that you have other children. What are the ages of your other children?
I only have one that lives with me, my older
Okay.
daughter.
What are the ages of your other children?
So I have the 25, I have a 27, and Jasmine 20, and then Omari.
Okay, Jasmine is 20.
Yes, that
Is
lives
that the
with
one that you said normally is on the list to pick him up?
Yes. Or
Okay.
his sister Lystra.
Huh?
His sister Lystra.
Listrom?
Lystra. 2 lives here in Georgia and 1 lives in New York.
Okay, the 25 or the 27, Lystra.
Lystra is 27.
Lystra 25 or 27?
27.
Okay, and you have Lystra sometimes listed as a pickup?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I have his aunt too, Ashley.
Uh-huh.
They can, if she can.
And Ashley is your sister?
As my sister, yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right then. And so right now, do you know his after school activities? Are you familiar with his after school activities currently?
He has none.
Okay, so he didn't do football or any of those
No.
extracurriculars?
No. I did speak with Omari about that. He asked me to get him some type of tights that wears on your clothes. And I asked him what's the reason for the tight. Are you in any type of sport? I did speak to Mr. Meadows and asked him if he was in sport. And yes, I did agree. I don't like football because he complained about his stomachs. I don't know during the practice if he was hurt or not. But I did speak to Mr. Meadows that we need to introduce him to different things. Either we can do tennis. I played a game of chess with him and I noticed that he's very good with that and he likes that. So I did speak to Mr. Meadows, and let him know that we have to try and introduce him to different things. And if it means that we have to come have to pay for whatever it is, then we can do that.
Okay.
And as of right now, what I know, he's not involved in no extracurricular activity.
Okay, no sports. Okay. All right. And for Peach Care, he was on Peach Care for you. Is he still on Peach Care, or you need to do something to get him back on Peach Care?
I did spoke to the representative, and they told me that there's a new program for kids his age that was switched. And I did fill out the application and I sent information to Laroma, let him know I was calling the caseworker, leave several messages. I never got a reply back as to which program exactly Omari is in.
Okay.
To apply for the insurance. He didn't have any insurance, and I didn't know until he took him to the doctor. So when he takes him to the doctor, I'm not even informed as to be there if he goes to the hospital. A couple of times he did send me.
So just get cut to the short portion of it. Is he insured right now or not?
No, he isn't. I was not able to get hold of anyone.
All right, and then for the child support, so based on that last order, Mr. Meadows was supposed to be paying child support in the amount of $330 a month.
Yes.
Okay, and at some point that stopped. Do you know how that stopped?
No, I didn't.
You didn't call him and tell him, hey, he's spending most time with his dad.
No, I got a letter. I just got a letter a few days ago stating that DFAX was informed that he was no longer living with me. That's what the letter said.
That DFAX was informed, but you don't know who informed DFAX. Is that
Yeah, I don't know who informed DFAX. And when I do call them, they said they're not able to give me no other information besides whatever's in my name.
What date was that you got the letter?
I'm sorry, I have the letter at home.
Did you know? Can you tell me if it was a month ago, 2 months ago? When did you get it?
I just got it this week.
Oh, okay. So
Just got it this
that
week.
happened.
Yeah, just recently. I just got it recently.
When he was living with you, did you and Mr. Meadows have any discussions about child support?
No.
So Mr. Meadows never said, since he's staying with me, I don't want to pay child support to you.
No, we just go by whatever the court document said. And
Okay.
sometimes he didn't even send money, and I didn't like press the issue because I know his situation that he wasn't working. And I said whenever he can, because when I met Mr. Meadows, he did inform me about his two sons that came to the home while we were living, and he told me about the support. And during that time, he still wasn't working. So whenever he gets whatever funds and he sent it to child support, he sent it. So when it came to Omari, I know he already have those two kids in the system. So Omari was added. And I also know that he didn't work constantly. So whenever he sent or whatever he sent, that was accepted.
Okay.
But I don't know.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Sanders, do you have any additional questions for her?
No, I don't have any more questions for Ms. Stowe. I would like for Mr. Meadows to be able to do some rebuttal on some of this stuff, Your Honor.
All right. You remain under oath, Mr. Meadows.
Mr. Meadows, you're gonna have to figure out how to get your audio working. All right. Let's start with the last thing she said. She said there were times when you were not working. Was there any significant amount of time when you were not working, Mr. Meadows?
No, I worked for Tommy for 13 years. I worked for Reliable Remodeling for 13 years.
All right.
Actually, when I was with her, that's what I was working for.
Okay. And in the last 2 or 3 years, has there been any significant amount of time when you were not working?
No, just the last couple months since I lost this last job.
Okay, so just to clarify, there have been 2 school years that Omari has been with you. Exactly. Since we filed this lawsuit, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. So that he started August school year of 2022 from your home.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did Miss Stowe express that she did not want him to start school from your home in August of 2022?
No, she didn't tell me that.
Okay, so you enrolled him in Robert Shaw Theme School, is that correct?
That's correct.
In August of 2022?
That's correct.
And why did you do that? Because he was at Dunair. You took him out of Dunair and put him in Robert Shaw. Why is that?
Because the theme school is a better school. I'm going to have a better chance. I had enrolled him in Marvin Theme School back when he was in the 1st grade, but his mother wouldn't let him go to that, and that was right across the street from where we lived at.
Okay. Are you aware of her having any interactions with the school when Omari was at Robert Shaw?
I wasn't aware of anything. As I said earlier, they was just somebody bringing some eats up there. I ain't heard anything about his mother. I mean, every time I did file online for him to go to a theme school, of course I put her name on there. So I don't know what she meant by that, because that's his mother. So her name was always on there.
And did she voice any objection, make any objection by text, email to him going to school from your home to Robert Shaw?
No, she didn't.
Okay. When she would pick him, she started to pick him up every other weekend during that period of time. Is that correct?
Yes, every other weekend.
Was there any time when she just did not bring him back to go to school Monday morning and said, no, I'm going to keep him and he's going to go to school from my home?
Yes.
Okay. So did he go to school from her home?
No, no, she still brought him. No, he didn't.
Okay,
He still came.
all right, so she still dropped him off.
Yeah, she still dropped him off.
Did she mostly drop him off on Sunday or Monday?
She dropped him off on Sundays most of the time. She dropped him off on Sunday, Sunday evening.
Did she ever help pay for any of his sports or extracurricular activities?
No, she didn't. I heard her earlier saying that, but she didn't help pay for no sports or in his activities. And
Okay.
he was in the Cub Scouts. He still have his books and stuff. So
Okay, so he did attend Cub Scouts.
yeah, he did. I got videos of it. Hmm.
Okay, now did he tell us the other extracurricular activities that he's done?
Well, he's done lately. He's been doing some baseball. Well, we've been trying to get him in baseball, but he's not really. But he played basketball for the church. He played basketball for the church.
Who would
And
take him to practice and to the games?
Me?
Okay, did Miss Stoll ever take him to the practice or the games?
No, she didn't even come to the basketball stuff.
Okay.
She came to a couple of his football games.
Okay, so he also played football.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and who was paying for all of these activities?
I was.
Okay, did you ever get any contribution from her?
No, but I asked her.
Okay, you said she came to a couple of the football games?
Yeah, she came to a couple.
What about practices? Did you get any assistance from Miss Stoll in
No,
transporting Omari to and from practice?
no, ma'am. None whatsoever.
You heard her testify that Omari, that you were living with Lori.
Yeah.
Omari was over there with you and Lori because of some physical abuse on your part.
That never even happened. That's why she talking about it wasn't because of that. I had took my rings back because I had proposed to her to marry her. So I took my rings back. She was upset about that because she's been disrespectful. So I took my rings back and I left because when we bought that house was bought, I got used in that process. So it was just a way for me to be put out for the family to come in. So
okay,
I was cool. I was cool with that.
Now, if you were put out because of some physical abuse, then do you have any idea of why Omari was allowed to come live with you at Lori's house?
Exactly. No, exactly. I don't have no idea why if I'm like that, because that's not the situation.
Okay. And she allowed him to come stay with you during that period of time.
She allowed him to come stay with me. And then she told the court that, he was with me for this, that reason, but she actually brought my son to me.
Okay, now this was back in 2017.
Yes, ma'am. She brought him to me.
Okay.
And it wasn't no abuse in that at that time. It wasn't none of that, what she's saying, no disagreement about nothing. Because once I split, I left.
Okay.
And she brought my son 2 weeks later.
Oh, so it was only 2 weeks.
It was just 2 weeks, probably not even that long.
Did she tell you why?
She said that she can't deal with him. He's not listening to her. Now he's 4 or 5, so I guess he was being disrespectful then too. So I don't know.
Okay. And so from 2017, you kept him until 2019.
I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
if you're going back into some of the stuff you've already gone over, I'm not getting
All right.
any new information at this juncture.
All right. On the insurance, Mr. Meadows, what are you doing regarding insurance for Omari at this time?
I applied for him insurance about a week or so ago.
Was
So
that Beach Care?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I should be hearing something probably the next couple of days. The lady told me that I should be hearing something in the next couple of days. And she told me if I don't, she said make sure I call back in a couple, in that time span.
Okay. Ms. Stoll testified that you call constantly to her home or wherever Omari is when he's over with her family for visitation. Is that true?
Right.
Well, I don't know if she really said he calls constantly, but that they are both in communications constantly is the issue.
I'm sorry. That wasn't true. No, I didn't call him constantly. I really don't like talking to my son while he's there with his mom. I like him to do their thing.
So your position is you don't have any trouble, you don't have any issues with them, with the communication piece, that is not being able to talk to him or him being able to call you consistently.
Yes, ma'am. I ain't got no problem with that. It just his mother was taking the phone at the time, especially when my sons was calling him. My son ain't got nothing to do with me, but she prevented them from even being in touch with each other.
So you're saying
Being in touch with who?
I'm
Being in
sorry.
touch with who?
My son, my other sons, Aiden, they really was really close. And She just stopped them from being in the community. It wasn't about me. I was trying to get my sons together, but she said I was harassing. I wasn't harassing anybody. I didn't call my son like that. My other kids be wanting to talk to my child, and they wouldn't allow it.
Did you send welfare checks that many times to her home as she's indicated?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Well, how many times did you send welfare checks?
It could have been 4 or 5 times, maybe 6, but I haven't. Most of the time I sent anybody, I called the police because I needed assistance to get my child. That's the only time I called the police.
You on the child to get the child or to check on the child, which is it?
To get him, like my visitation, because she'll make me wait in my truck for hours.
Did they ever assist you in getting him?
Yes, ma'am, twice.
So out of the 6 times you said you called, twice they gave him to you.
Twice they gave him to me.
And the other 4 times, what happened?
The other 4 times, police officer told me nothing he can do. I need to get some type of better order than what I have. That's what he said. And I got some officers that told me, hey, well, this is mother, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was all.
Is that because your order did not have any time in it?
Exactly. It didn't have no times and then on it. So it kind of messed me up. And even the police, every time he looked at it, oh, this it? This one piece of paper? Where the rest of it at? So that's how it was. And they always told me, you just got to go back to court, Mr. Meadows. That's it. Okay.
Now, when you moved him to, well, first of all, why did he leave Robert Shaw and go to Champion?
Because Champion is a middle school. So once he finished with Robert Shaw, Robert Shaw only goes to the 5th grade. So after that, you got to go to a middle school.
Oh, so he aged out. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So did you communicate with Ms. Stoll that you were enrolling him in Champion?
Every time I enrolled him, she knew every time I enrolled him. Actually, I would even send her. I would send it to her, so I know she knew. I mean, that's his mother. Her name is on there. Everything I did.
Give me 1 quick second. Okay.
Okay. Mr. Meadows, did you know anything about Ms. Stoll's house being under construction?
I haven't heard anything about that. Only thing I knew is that was a concern is that my son used to tell me that she was using his card to buy paint for her house, and they was working on it. That's the only thing I knew. I never heard anything. She never told me anything else. Marvin just told me stuff they was painting in there.
Now, when you say card, you mean like debit card?
Yeah, his food, it's when when child support take my money out, it'd be on the card.
You mean the child support money?
Yeah, so
they
passed the card around, yeah.
Okay. Did you know anything about her having cancer? Did she tell you about that?
No, ma'am, she didn't tell me anything about that. And for her going overseas, I didn't know anything. My next question. She never, if she was overseas, I didn't know she was overseas because I always was to call her. There's plenty of times I call her when I was over. Me and Marvin standing with Lori there, and I asked her could she carry Mari to school, and she told me no, she can't because she got to care Jasmine. And a lot of times I had to get the daycare. I had to get the lady on the daycare after school. She helped me out, or Arlene's friend. I pay her to carry my son because I didn't even have a car.
Okay, and so now we're back talking about, I guess, 2017 or 2018 time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I have nothing further for Mr. Meadows at this time.
Okay. All right, then. Let's do any closing arguments.
I would waive opening, Your Honor. All
right, Ms. Stoll, this is the point where you tell the court what you would like to see, what you want the court to rule. Why?
At this point, with what Mr. Meadows just mentioned is not true. What I need is an agreement for us when it comes to the schooling in terms of picking him up, dropping him off, and for him to return back to the home because he's using my address in order for him to enroll in Champion, not his address. And also, the other issue that I have is with, I need to get Omari's passport. I asked Mr. Meadows if he can sign it so he can get it. I do need that to happen and I need his permission. He refuses. But my main concern that we need to get help for Omari with his behavior, his anger problem, and for us to come to an agreement when it comes to the drop-off and pick-up times, which and I agree with that. Mr. Rome had gotten technical to say, because he's been in this situation before, this is my first time, that at 6 o'clock, the time changes and it goes to, and so the police officer did explain to that at 6 o'clock, then it goes into a different time to where that's where the parents it turns over. That's why they were at the house waiting. So I need, if we do have parent plan, the time to when we alternate in the weeks, because we still alternate the weekends. Omari was able to still go with his dad, and whatever daycare that Omari attend, I did meet those people, the owners of the daycare. I did introduce myself. They had my number. And I agree with Ms. Sanders, the payment plan that we had before, it had no time to where drop off and pick up the areas. And we were dropping him off and picking him up at the court, downtown Stone Mountain. And then it became a little issue that sometimes he couldn't make it to that pickup point and the drop-off point. We couldn't make it. So we agreed that he is allowed to come back to the house so we can pick up and drop off with each other's home, make it easier. So that's what we start doing. So we do need a time frame to when we have to pick up and drop off, the holidays. And when it comes to, I need his passport to be signed so I can get him a passport because he doesn't have one. Mr. Meadows has been fighting me on that. And I had spoke to Mr. Meadows before that let's go for joint custody. I told him, let's go for joint custody. And he refused. He doesn't want joint custody with Omari. So if we can get joint custody today, and also with a parent plan, with having the time to pick up, drop off, and alternating the holidays, because we're still doing alternating weekends. And for him to come back home, because I need to get him back in his home, because the behavior and how he's behaving is getting out of control. And if me and Mr. Meadows can come to an agreement to where the dropping off and picking up, if that can happen, I'll greatly appreciate it.
All right, Ms. Sanders.
Your Honor, Ms. Stowe has admitted to physically abusing Omari with a shoe. There is the text message, which was admitted into evidence, where Omari is talking about how he doesn't want to live anymore. And if you review that, you'll see that it has nothing to do with something that Mr. Meadows is doing. It has to do with how he feels about how Ms. Stowe treats her other children versus how she treats him. He's very articulate in the text message. He doesn't, it's clear in that text message that he doesn't want to be over there with her on a joint custody arrangement or 1 week on or alternating weeks, as she just stated. Omari's school records make it clear that he is better off, does better in school when he's with Mr. Meadows. Mr. Meadows has been the one who has been proactive in making sure that he's put him in 2 theme schools at this point. He's testified that he informed Ms. Stowe, that he put Ms. Stowe's information in the school records, but Ms. Stowe never made any objection to it. She didn't go to the school and say, here are my custody papers. He has no right to enroll this child in this school without my permission. She didn't disenroll him and put him in a school in her district. She just kind of went along with it. Mr. Meadows testified about the many times of refusal of visitation, of him having to call the police just to get his visitation. It's just so clear to me. There have been 2 times that she's allowed Omari to go stay with his dad. And both times were for years. If we didn't have this case going on right now, she would be just fine with things staying just the way they are. She's done nothing to try to get Omari back in her primary custody, going to school from her home. She's allowed him to stay when she picks him up on her every other weekend. She could have just kept him and said, no, he's not coming back to you because you don't have physical custody. I do. But no, every time she would bring him back. She wasn't participating with his activities, his extracurricular activities and sports. And I kept hearing things, 1 minute she's working from home, then no, I work in Alpharetta. If she works in Alpharetta, then if she doesn't have to be there until 10:30, she probably needs, based on Atlanta traffic, she probably needs to leave home, an hour and a half, 2 hours ahead of time. I don't know how this getting him to and from school is going to be, how she's going to be able to do that. 1 minute, one of the first things I asked her, Judge, was, have you been over to the school at Champion or Robert Shaw and talked to the teachers since he's been in those two schools? And her answer was no. And then later on, she continued to say, oh yeah, I talked to the teachers. I talked to the teachers. I went to school. I talked to the teachers about that. So she, even in her own testimony, continuously contradicted herself in her own testimony. Mr. Meadows has provided a stable, loving environment where the child is thriving and doing well in school. And we would ask that, she's coming to court saying she objected, but none of her actions show that she objected to that. So we would ask the court to allow him to stay in the primary custody of Mr. Meadows and adopt the parenting plan that we submitted as one of our exhibits. Regarding child support, Your Honor, I know that the court's going to need to do a new child support worksheet based upon the income information that came out in evidence today. But if the court is considering some type of offset or that Mr. Meadows owes any back support to Ms. Stoll, I'd like for the court to look at the case of Brown versus Georgia Department of Human Resources, and it can be found at 263 Georgia 53 or 428 Southeastern 2nd 81. And it's a case very similar to this, where the Department of Human Resources was trying to get back child support when a parent had actual physical custody, although the court order did not allow him to have custody. And the Court of Appeals said, no, equitably, that's not right. That's not making sense, because that parent was having to spend money to take care of the child while the child was in that parent's home, with that parent having the physical custody in that parent's home at that time. And they denied that for that parent to have to pay back support based on the custody order or child support order that was in place. So we'd ask that the court order Ms. Stoll to pay child support based on the worksheet that the court does regarding all the information that the court has taken into account today. Thank you.
So on the child support issue, I don't know what I've taken on child support information today, because Mr. Larone indicated that generally he was making $60,000 a year, and now he started a new job for which there really isn't any. I mean, there are a few invoices. That doesn't give me anything. The only thing I would eventually end up doing is looking at his prior income, because 3 months of starting something that he's in the interim with is not going to give me any basis to do a child support worksheet off of. I don't know how to look at that. But
I said that, in my opening, Judge, if you decide to impute his income to $60,000, that's fine. He wants some child support, and of course the law says the child is entitled to some child support, so we would like for the court to order it. But the amount, we're not harping on that. The most important thing to Mr. Meadows is that he continue to have primary physical custody of Omari.
all right. So I think there are a couple of things that are pretty clear. I think that Ms. Stoll has essentially allowed the child to live with Mr. Meadows for the last couple of years. She had an order in place where she could have exercised it at any point in time to have the child brought back into her custody and take the child out of this school system and place the child where she wanted. I think Ms. Stoll did not do that. And perhaps she didn't do it because, she wanted the kid in that school district. Perhaps she didn't do it because of her job and she was unable to get him back and forth at a good school. And those are things that are real. But the reality is that those are all the things that the court has to do and take into consideration what's in the best interest of the child. For example, if you have a job that prevents you from being able to get your child back and forth from school, then it may not be that you're the best parent for the child to live with, because you don't have the ability to get the child back and forth to a very important part of his life, which is school. So if your job prevents you from being able to be there, it prevents you from being able to take the child to extracurricular activities, prevent you from being able to get the child back and forth from school, then that means that the other parent might be in a better situation than you are. Because we're not doing what's in your best interest. We're doing what's in the child's best interest. And if it's in about child's best interest to have a parent who can drop him off from school, pick him up from school, take him to his extracurricular activities, help him with homework, get him ready for bed, then that parent is the better parent for him for those situations. Not better parent as in one is better than the other, but just having a lifestyle that is better for the child. And I think that might be the reason why Ms. Stoll made that decision. I think another issue she said, she was got tired of the back and forth, but the reality is that you would have had back and forth perhaps on the weekends, but your order made it very clear the child was with you during the weekday. And that is something that you, to some extent, put aside for the reasons I think ultimately on 2 occasions, because you thought him living with his father was going to be beneficial when he was kind of getting out of hand and thought that he needed a father figure to make those changes. And then perhaps the second time because of the schooling, I'm not quite certain, but I think you've done it on a few occasions. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it if you're doing it because you think it's in the child's best interest. I think there's also a part of you, of course, who wants to be involved in your child's life, who wants to be there and do what you can, but you also recognize that you have to work and you have bills to pay and you have other people that's also supporting, that's also depending on you. So I get that as well. And luckily you guys are not too far from each other, which makes some of the co-parenting that you have to do a lot less hectic. And so what I think what we'll do is we will do the general parenting plan, but the court will give some additional parenting time on the weekday so that, for example, you would keep him Sunday night, take him to school on Monday mornings, and then have an overnight during the weekday. So during that weekday, you'll have the week that you don't have him on the weekend, you can have an overnight with him, say on a Wednesday night, or a night that he doesn't have an extracurricular, or a night that you don't mind taking him to have an extracurricular, which at this point, the court is just going to put as a Wednesday night, but you all can figure a constant night out if it somehow interferes with extracurricular. I'm going to give Mr. Meadows you'll have joint custody, which means you'll have all rights. You have rights to all the documents, you'll have rights to the medical and all of those things. But you would, if there are any in joint custody, meaning that Mr. Meadows would have the right to make any final decision to the extent after discussion, after consideration of everybody's feelings, Mr. Meadows would make the final on education. Each one of you will have the opportunity to have him involved in an extracurricular activity. That extracurricular activity you would be responsible for paying. And with regard to medical, that would be, I think Mr. Meadows indicated he was going to get the medical insurance, so he'll have final on the medical as well. So we did joint medical. With regard to the passport, you will assist in the passport, getting the passport. When the passport is used, if the child care it goes out of the country, you would provide the itinerary with regard to where you're going. You will provide the plane tickets and all those particulars if the child travels out of the country. Let's see. Mr. Meadows, to the extent that you are doing welfare checks, those will stop so that we can stop this back and forth activity. I think with a more detailed report, most of this will stop. I think a lot of this happened because there wasn't any detail in the parenting plan. And so everybody's kind of doing what they think is best for themselves. And so hopefully with a more detailed plan, you won't need this. But I'm also indicating for when Ms. Stoll says that when she's with her child, she doesn't want him to spend half his day on the phone with you. That's at least what she's saying. And so that's going to be put in the order that you would have an opportunity to call, but it would be during a set time of the day. So generally towards the evening, if you want to call him towards the evening, you will have that opportunity to call him towards the evening, but it would not be a situation where you're talking with him throughout the day. Okay. So that she'll have an opportunity to have that relationship with him. I am concerned about the text message he sent. I know it's been a while, but I think Ms. Stoll also is concerned about the anger and stuff that he has. Know that could be dealing with all of this between the two of you. And some of that could be likely as a result of that, but I still think he needs to have some counseling. So I do agree with Ms. Stoll. This child needs to get enrolled in counseling. I'm going to give you all 4 weeks to do that. I'm going to give you 4 weeks because I'm thinking you're in the middle of trying to get this medical stuff taken care of. And that'll give you 4 weeks so that he can have at least bi-weekly counseling. And you'll do that until a counselor believes that it is no longer necessary. Want that counseling involved? I do want some counseling related to the reunification of his relationship with his mother. That is some counseling. So when we talk about the counseling, we're talking about the disrespectful behavior that he has towards mother, and that we have a counseling that's going to deal with that piece. I'll take a look at the Brown versus Georgia Department of Family and Children Services, or what you said, that was Georgia Department of Health. That was the
Georgia Department of, I think it used to be Human Resources back then, back in that, you know, they've changed it
Right.
to Human Services.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking a look at that case. Initially, my thoughts are is that when the court placed an order in place and people change the order, you know, I deal with what the order said, not what other people decided to change it, because it just gets nasty back and forth. And so generally my first thought is that child support is owed and due unless the court changes child support being owed and due. But I'll take a look at this case that you presented to the court. So initially that was my thoughts, to determine what the amount he is that he owed, so that it could be applied towards an offset of what she might be owing as well. But I'll take a look at that case before I make a decision on child support. And then, Ms. Sanders, I'm going to ask that you prepare this order anyway. And so I'll read that case and I'll let you know how I'm going to do it and what numbers that I'm going to use. I'll take a look at Mr. Larone's documents that he submitted to the court about what he's making now. Ms. Stoll, I really don't have much to do for Ms. Stoll, although I know she's making about $20 an hour. So I'll probably work that through and kind of see where we are, because I think
Yeah,
40,000 is a wavering number. So I'm just going to add this. I'm going to do $20 times 40. I'm going to just see what I get. And then I'll kind of figure out what this child support would
I took down the amount that was on her, that what she showed us, Your Honor. And it was I'll do it better. It was $1562.30 every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And when I did I multiplied that by 26, and it ended up being just a little over 40,000, like $40,600 and change.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let me look into what that will look like, and then I'll present that to you. But you can get started on some of these things, and there's some outstanding issues that I need to look into dealing with the child support. And are there any other issues that
regarding that, limiting those phone calls?
Yes.
15 minutes a day for each parent to communicate with the child.
Yeah.
No more than 15 minutes per day, and no more than one call per day.
Yeah. And if you miss the call, you just return the call immediately as soon as possible. Try to return the call within the hour. And Mr. Larone, you're saying the amount that you pay for child support, you pay that every month, $385.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, that's the order of the court. All those extra matters that are outstanding, we'll send you an email, Ms. Sanders, so you can help prepare the documents for this court.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Y'all are free to leave.
All right.
Thank you. And Your Honor, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Do I have opportunity to upload those documents because I'm still not able to do anything? Do I still need to do that?
The only document that there were there were three that I end up seeing and use part of this. So that would be your pay stub. You could submit that pay stub. You could submit the document dealing with the child support, what he's paid. That's not really what I need. But what I will allow you to do is go online to the child support agency and determine and send to me what it is that they believe he's owed. I don't know if this case that Ms. Sanders presented to me is going to answer that question. So having that document would be helpful.
Yeah, I did go on the website. It doesn't say exactly how much is owed. It doesn't show you anything.
Yeah. Well, it should show you what it's due and owing from him. So you might be on the wrong one. I'm not sure, but take a look and see if you can submit that to the court, and that would be the only outstanding issue.
Okay, yeah, because I had
or if you don't have it, if you have evidence of what he has sent in.
Right, that's the deposits that I had in the email. That's what I have, the deposits.
Yeah, I can. If you give me the deposits, then I'll know. I can look at the time that he was supposed to start.
Yeah,
how he's supposed to end, and then what he sent, and then of course by deduction, I can tell you that would be fine as well.
So can I? Because with this issue I'm having with uploading the document,
send it to Miss Marshall. Email it to Miss Marshall, and I'll file it.
Send all the information
if I use it. I'm sorry.
I'll send that to her. And can she provide her email?
Yes, Marshall. Can you put your email in?
Because I'm having.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Your Honor, once Ms. Stoll presents those documents, may I have 7 days or so to review them to make sure that I don't have some objection to them if there's something on them that is either incorrect or may need further explanation?
I don't know about 7 days. I don't want to give you 7 days to do it, but you could, I don't anticipate using anything that I haven't seen, so I don't see the need for that. The only thing that I need is what she submitted, which was, oh, you're concerned about the fact that she may not have all of the payments in that document. Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
If I get to a point where I'm dealing with child support and I don't have a one number on it and I'm doing some calculations like that, don't worry, we'll come back together and make sure that number is correct. That is if this case you presented to me doesn't solve that issue.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Ms. Harris, if you don't mind bringing me over that Brown versus Georgia Department case 263 Georgia 53.